We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a holiday episode of Vikings Uncensored. I'm Rhino, and with me, as always, my co-host, the elf on the shelf over there, Mr. Brunswick. We are here for episode 138, previewing the first matchup of the year versus the Detroit Lions, Christmas Eve at US Bank Stadium, a whiteout game. Except for wearing the purple helmets instead of having the white helmets with it, which would be really cool. But
that would be sweet. I think it's just a matter of time, hopefully.
Yeah.
We were asking for it last year. We're asking for it this year. Hopefully they hear us fans asking for it, and so hopefully it happens. You know what though? The season starts this week, and if anything's gonna happen, it starts now.
It has to start now. Yeah.
Now. Get to the playoff, and then we're fucking. That's where we just get there, find a way. I know everybody's like, "Oh, if you lose a few games, you get this pick or whatever in the top 10 or whatnot." But no, all hope is not lost. Fucking, our season starts over again right now. Let's get in. Let's take care of business, and it starts with Detroit this weekend with the whiteout game.
Yep. We still control our own destiny for getting into playoffs. We win 2 of the last 3 we're in. So
frustrating, yes, very, very much frustrating. But you know what? If we're gonna make the playoffs, let's go in hot. Nobody wants to back in. You know what? I think there's 13 teams in the league right now that are sitting in the same record, in the same seat that we are as we speak right now.
Well, so, with 3 games to go in the regular season, there are 26 teams that are still technically alive for playoff spots.
Perfect. Right there. Good. You're there for me on that one. Yes, exactly. You know, every year is a new year in this league. You know, some years you got 5 teams that are the top teams in the league every so often. Well, this year, there's so much competition and so much talent, or what have you, whatever it might be. But there's a bunch of us muddled right in the middle of the pack this season. So I mean, it's been entertaining to say the least. And none of our losses have been by more than 1 score. I mean, let's get it together. I mean, why can't we just have? It all comes down to having a complete game, Rhino. I know you got your rants in on Monday, but yeah, it comes down to just being able to have a complete game. 1 week our offense does the job, and then our defense doesn't show up. 3 weeks our defense shows up, and our offense doesn't show up. If we could just put together a fucking complete game, we would be okay.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Okay, we have Lance's little rant section. So we got that one last week out of the way and stuff. So we'll move on here to this week. Not a ton of new stuff going on other than half the league is hurt and all this. A big surprise, Aaron Rodgers will not play this year for all the talk that he was going to come back, possibly this week or whatever it was. And he's 14 weeks really wasn't a realistic goal to begin with. I mean, shut up, you attention whore.
I mean, had the Jets been in place to possibly make a shot at making it around the playoffs, I think maybe it would be different, but we'll never know,
No, I don't think it would have even been any different then, because I don't think it's humanly possible, even with that speed bridge surgery that he had, because Cam Akers had that done when he tore his first Achilles, and it still took him 20 weeks to come back.
Yeah,
Rodgers was going to do it in 14. You don't just shave 6 weeks off that, even with that.
Right.
So it was all, as it always is with Rodgers, just a attention ploy, just so his name was in the media, because the people hadn't been talking about him that much for a couple of weeks. So but even the national media is starting to finally open their eyes. I think it was Tiki Barber that said something the other day that Rodgers is a master manipulator and selfish and everything. I was like, where have you guys been for 12 years? He's been that way ever since he's been in the freaking league. I mean, you just finally figuring that out now?
Yeah. You know what? Sometimes it's just so much. It's funnier that how much the true fans, or just fans in general, I'm not going to say true fans or whatever, but how much we actually know what, kind of are instinctively know that kind of what's going on behind the scenes a little bit,
Well, and the fans,
more so than the media.
Well, the fans can say what they want, and there's no repercussions for it. The national media gets their marching orders. You must slurp so and so quarterback and that and everything else. So
right.
You have everybody can have a platform like this now, and they can say what they want and what they really want to say, not just what they're told to say. So,
and a quick shout out to the Pat McAfee show. I really like it. I really enjoy it, but that's kind of one of the ones that's really cutting edge as far as, it's on, mainstream media and shit like that, but he really does pretty cool things over there, I believe. Anyways.
Yeah.
So I think, anyways, shout out to Pat if you're out there watching us.
I know. Yeah. He's a regular watcher. I know. So, but anyway, other than that, a couple other things, I guess, something came out today that, Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson is reportedly seeking, because he's one of the hot names for coaching candidates and stuff coming out. He's going to be seeking $15 million a year if he gets a head coaching gig.
Crazy. How much that's nuts, man.
Yeah, because Gruden got 10 when he was for the Raiders, and everybody thought that was insane. But slow news day, and I don't know if it's somebody from the Lions organization throwing that out there to try to quell the demand for him, or if he actually is.
If the market's in demand for him, then I can't. I understand why the guy would request that type of money, but I don't know. I just don't know that it is.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, the other big thing, of course, Pro Bowl voting ends this week. So if you have not voted yet, go out and you can do it on the X-Files or on NFL.com. But top 5 vote getters as of today, we're recording on Thursday here. Tua is the number 1 vote getter, surprisingly.
Wow.
Christian McCaffrey is 2nd. Brock Purdy 3rd. CJ Stroud 4th, and George Kittle 5th. Now that's, overall top 5 out of the entire league.
Yeah.
However, Vikings Nation has been doing their due diligence on trying to get the Viking players in there. We have a bunch of guys who are ranked in the top 5 at their position anyway.
Nice.
Starting off, Andrew DePaula at the long snapper position. He's the 2nd highest vote getter right now for long snappers.
Okay.
TJ Hawkinson is 2nd behind George Kittle for tight ends. Danielle Hunter's the 2nd highest ranked edge rusher.
Good.
Or outside linebacker, however you want to put it. Yeah, he should be.
At least 2nd. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Josh Metellus is 2nd for strong safeties.
That's nice. That's nice to see. Nice to hear. I'm glad to hear that.
He deserves. Metellus deserves to make the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, and you know what? He's a great. I mean, I think I just get the feeling that he's just a great person in general. You know,
yeah,
that's the vibe I get up from Metellus. Yeah,
we got 4 more guys that are ranked in the top 5 at their position. Harrison Smith, ranked 4th for safeties. Cam Bynum, ranked 4th for free safeties. CJ Ham is ranked 4th for fullbacks. And Garrett Bradbury is ranked 5th centers.
At what? What's he ranked at?
5th.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, CJ Ham, I think there's probably only like 4 or 5 tight ends, fullbacks left in the NFL, but
right, true fullbacks, yeah.
Yeah. But so I mean, they're not all those guys are going to get in, obviously, and well, let's be honest, most of them probably will make it if they want to, because there'll be a lot of guys that drop out, or the teams that are playing in the Super Bowl, yada yada yada.
I would imagine Darrisaw's in there somewhere, isn't he? Did you mention Darrisaw?
No, Darrisaw's not in top 5, which is kind of surprising to me.
Wow. Okay.
So Vikings Nation, if you're seeing this, get out there and Pro Bowl vote Christian Darrisaw to the Pro Bowl, because he does deserve to go, I believe.
I agree. Yeah.
So get out the vote, go on Twitter, X-Files, whatever you want to call it, and cast your vote for him and also these other guys. So, but anyway, that's about it news-wise. So let's move right on into the preview this week of, again, the Detroit Lions coming to US Bank Stadium on Christmas Eve to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The first of 2 games yet to play with Detroit. So we played Detroit 2 of the last 3. And if we make the playoffs and the seedings fall right, we could actually play Detroit 3 out of 4 weeks straight.
Without even knowing, just assumptions aside, before the season started, this last 3 games have really made for an exciting end for the regular season for the North in general.
Yeah, because Green Bay is not out of the playoff hunt yet. Chicago technically is still alive. I mean,
they've gotten better.
Support,
I'm not going to sit back here and say they haven't gotten better as the season has gone on, but they have gotten, and they have improved greatly as the season has rolled along. I think, anyways.
Yeah. But anyway, let's start with
pretty good over there.
Yeah. Well, and Montez Sweat. We kind of made fun of the. As much as they gave up for him, and he's right now he is the sack leader for the Washington Commanders, and he's also the sack leader for the Chicago Bears. He's got 6 sacks with the Bears since he came over.
Big pickup. I mean, hats off to Ryan Poles on that one.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's take a look at the Vikings injury report. This is as of Thursday. Again, there will be another full day of practice Friday that maybe we'll know more by the time you guys see this tomorrow night. But we got a bunch of guys on the list this week.
Yeah.
Jonathan Bullard and Sheldon Day are both on with ankle injuries. They were limited.
Bullard played pretty well last week.
He's played pretty decently all year long. I've been impressed.
Really, that defensive line in general has played really well as a unit this season.
Danielle Hunter didn't practice Wednesday due to an illness and was limited on Thursday.
I fully expect him to play.
Yeah, I assume he'll play. But as of Thursday, we've got a bunch of guys who have not practiced yet this week. Alexander Madison with his ankle still has not practiced.
Don't really care anymore.
Well, I mean, this would leave the door open for Ty Chandler to start again this week, obviously.
Only 14 weeks too late.
Yeah. Byron Murphy Jr. Did not practice 2 days this week. He's got a hamstring of some sort. Jalen Naylor still has not cleared concussion protocol from that.
I'm about done with Naylor. Honestly, I really am. I mean, the talent's there to be good, but I'm just it's just something about him. I'm just about done with. Honestly,
I can't blame him. You can't blame the guy for getting a concussion, and they're extremely
no,
cautious with
no.
that kind of
I mean,
stuff.
he's made the snaps that he's had to. He's just made some goofy fucking mistakes on the field, and as far as route running goes, a couple of the plays that he's had a couple of good splash plays, but I think the bad outweighs the good so far. As far as the season goes with Naylor,
I'm not giving up on him yet, just because he hasn't played hardly at all this year. But a
his
couple other
first 2
ones,
years, but yeah.
a couple other ones though. Brian O'Neill still not practicing with the ankle. That's a little concerning.
With that being said, though, my man Kissenberry looked pretty decent out there.
Yeah,
Right
he played well again last week, and so he'll step in, play again
Got to
this week.
shout out the reserves, man, when they step up like they do, and Kissenberry rose to the occasion. Kissenberry, Questenberry, you guys all know me in last name.
Yeah. And then the final one, Harrison Phillips hasn't practiced yet this week with some sort of a back issue.
Okay.
Which if he isn't playing, that is a bit concerning. But
yeah, he's really had this has been his best year in purple and gold, I believe.
Yep. Oh yeah, it definitely has.
Yeah.
But looking into some other stuff here, of course, Detroit was kind of on a rough patch there for a while. They should have lost the first game to the Bears. They did lose the second game to the Bears. They lost to Green Bay on Thanksgiving. And who else did they lose to in there? Seattle, wasn't it?
Somebody else, but
yeah, they lost.
Right now, if you look at our schedule that remains, and you look at Detroit's schedule that remains, I like our schedule much more. I believe that we actually have more control over where we're going to end up, more so than Detroit. I mean, that Dallas game for Detroit's going to be. We have to take care of business this weekend, first and foremost, before anything. But that Dallas game for Detroit's going to be, if we come away with the win this weekend, go Dallas, for real.
Yeah. It makes me sick to my stomach to have to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, looking ahead to the game, Brian Flores has always called pretty good defense against Jared Goff. From any of the times he was in, he faced him with the Rams a couple of times, faced him with Detroit once. The one was in that Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, and Goff doesn't do that well against the blitz. So that,
right.
That's
and
something that
we are. This is a different defense than what Goff seen last year, obviously.
Right.
What was I going to say? No, I don't remember. I'll remember it eventually.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, that's going to be tough with the blitz and everything. Go ahead.
I don't believe Detroit has won here in Minnesota in the past 6 seasons. I think I seen that stat somewhere. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure I did. It's been
the last game that Detroit won here was that Case Keenum game where Dalvin Cook tore his knee out.
So yeah,
week four of the 2017 season.
Yep. So and I don't want to bank on those type of things either. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yep. The biggest thing, that we're talking with the defense and the pass rush and that kind of stuff, Detroit's offensive line is back at full strength, and that's one of the best offensive lines in the league, if not.
Yeah, we've mentioned it. We've mentioned it numerous times throughout the year that we believe that Detroit has arguably one of the top 3 offensive lines in the whole entire NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you got Taylor Decker and Penei Sewell at your tackles, Jonah Jackson at the left guard. He's good. Frank Ragnow is a very good center.
He is probably, outside of Sewell, he's probably your second best guy on that line. So
yeah, I like Frank Ragnow. I wish we'd have drafted him when we had.
He's an animal. I love me some Ragnow as well. I think I said that way back in the day on this show too. So.
Then their other guard, Graham Glasgow. I don't know a whole lot about him, but as a unit, they're very formidable. So we're gonna have our hands full with that.
Glasgow.
Yeah. Then, of course, offensively, you've got the full complement of weapons there. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs as the running back, who's had some pretty good games lately. He's still not the lead, or I think David Montgomery is still considered the RB1, but Gibbs is getting
I don't
a lot
know,
of
man.
run.
Gibbs is turned it up as the season's gone
Yeah,
on.
I mean, and I think he's actually getting the lion's share, but no pun. Actually, the pun was intended.
Right.
There,
Right.
but when I checked the depth chart, Montgomery is still listed as RB1, but that doesn't mean anything.
No.
And then, of course, they've got Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams at the wide receivers. They're finally starting to figure out how to get Jamison Williams involved in their offense a little more.
Yep.
Then, of course, you've got
Reynolds is no throw. Reynolds is nobody to throw to the side either. He can make plays.
He's not. He's a very good third wide receiver.
Yes, he is.
Or I think he's technically he's probably wide receiver 2, and Williams is 3.
I think he gets overlooked a lot. I think he gets overlooked a lot, and he's a damn good number 2 for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then probably the biggest weapon they've had this year is rookie tight end Sam Laporta.
Yeah, the guy that replaced Hawk.
Yeah, and he's also wearing Hawk's numbers. So
also from Iowa too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I mean Iowa's tight end university. It seems like they pump those things.
It truly is. It has been the last decade.
Mm-hmm. So and he's a very good tight end. I really like that kid, but
yeah,
this week I hate him.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as coming out and being what everybody thought he was, he's one of the few that have come out this year and done that. Of the rookie tight ends that are out there this season.
Yeah, I mean I think he's probably exceeded most people's expectations of what.
Yeah. Yep.
Then, of course, over on the defensive side of things, I mean, Detroit is can be had in spots there.
It's kind of been a roller coaster ride with Detroit's defense this year.
Yeah, I mean, you still got Aiden Hutchinson up front.
So that back end is what's vulnerable.
Yep, Anzalone and linebacker is a very good linebacker. He's given us fits in the past.
Yep.
Then their back end right now, their top 2 guys would be like Brian Branch, your former draft crush.
Yep.
And then I think Cam Sutton, one of their cornerbacks as well. But they can be beat in the secondary, and I think that's where we're going to probably have to try to make a lot of our hay. But
that's this. It all comes back to the trenches on this. It does.
Yeah. Speaking of the trenches, why don't we roll into the tail of the tape here, and we will see where we match up versus the Lions this week. Starting off, as we always do, on the offensive side of thing, total yards. Detroit is number 3 in the league. We are 11th now.
Slow decline in the offense is starting to show as the weeks go on.
I mean, when you had a couple of weeks there of Dobbs, who was throwing for.
It's almost like you were legitimately riding a high with the stats as far as that goes. Well, yeah, because slowly started to dip off.
Kirk had everything up there so high as far as numbers, passing yards and whatnot. Average wise, now it's bleeding back. But scoring offense, this was a big one. Detroit is 5th in the league in scoring. We're 21st.
Yeah, that we've dropped off on that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
granted, a 3-0 and a 12-10 game, a couple of those games doesn't do much for your average as far as scoring goes. But
some drives last weekend with Mullins looked great, and then some just look. You realize why these guys are backups.
Mm-hmm. Well, if Mullins hadn't thrown those couple of boneheaded interceptions, I mean, he threw for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns.
He did. Exactly. I can't be too upset with what Mullins did against the Bengals.
Of course, that one touchdown throw he did too is a "What the hell are you doing?" Oh, okay, it worked
across the body.
That one down to Addison in the corner down there.
I mean, yeah, I liked what I seen for the most part, but then the stupid thing was when he threw that pick and he thought he thought they called it a fumble, but and he's like, my arm is going forward. Well, you threw it right in
Into
his
his
lap.
lap. It didn't matter at that point. No.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I'm if we'll get back to the tape in a second. If
Yep.
we lose this weekend, then you go to Hall.
I don't think they do yet, because even if we lose this weekend, it's still not over, because if Detroit wraps up the NFC North, and if they beat us this weekend, they will.
That's what I'm
It's
saying.
it's very possible that Week 18 game Detroit has nothing to play for.
Yeah, and then you go with Hall or what? I don't know.
No, the only way Hall gets in.
If you were in and you're in, yeah, I get you now.
The only way we go to Jaron Hall is if something happens to Mullins or he completely shits the bed. I don't, a lot of these people are out there saying we need to see what we have at Jaron Hall. No, we don't. We have Hall under control for 3 more years yet, and the Vikings did not draft Jaron Hall with plans of him being the starter in September of 2024.
Yeah. You don't do that when you got somebody like Kirk, who you can't. The thing is, I just had a inkling in the back of my head that something. It was a time bomb just waiting to happen with Kirk. Eventually, it was going to happen.
Yeah,
and it did.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the tail of the tape here. Passing yards: Detroit 4th in the league in passing. Vikings are still 7th in passing yards.
Yeah, Mullins had a good week last week, passing it outside of the 2 interceptions and the what could have been pick 6 that never happened. So
yeah. Rushing, though, here's where Detroit really blows us out of the water. They're 2nd in the league in rushing. We are 23rd.
Wow. I think that is going to be trending upwards, though. I really liked. I mean, how can you not like what you've seen on that Chandler this past weekend?
I mean, the last 3 weeks we've gone from 28th up to 23rd now, so we're.
Yeah, and I know a lot of other numerous podcasts went on to mention this too, but why hasn't Chandler been starting for since a lot of us, even in the preseason, were tabbing Chandler as a possible starter.
Yeah,
and that's another case of where the fans kind of are the guys that are following the team, like us and everybody else that has their own little show, or the fans that are at home with their books or whatever. But yeah, we all kind of had an idea that why doesn't the coaching staff see that then?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of bothers me a little bit, and I think it bothers a lot of people.
On some of it, I think there's a little bit of O'Connell's loyalty towards some of the other guys. Well, they brought Madison back, with promises to be a starter. Well, we promised him. Well, okay, I'm sorry. This is NFL. Promises don't mean
it's one of those things that really, it's like a small headache to me, where you got these coaches that claim that they're going to play the best players every week, and in all reality, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody knows it on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's seen for several weeks that Ty Chandler's a better running back.
Yeah,
more explosive anyway than Alex Madison is.
And it was the same thing with Akers. They still forced Madison. In all respect to Madison, but he is what he is.
Yeah,
at this point. But
I mean, to his credit, had been playing better a couple weeks before he got hurt.
Yes.
But
yes,
regardless,
and the thing is that it proved a lot of the things about the offensive line, as far as them being the issue. That proved that theory wrong, I believe. Mm-hmm. I believe with Chandler coming in and having the production that he did and the snaps that he's had, has proved that absolutely false.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. Anyway, final snippet here for the offensive tail of the tape, looking at the turnovers. Detroit turns the ball over fair amount. They're 20th in the league. Of course, we are 30th in the league in turnovers, so we turn the ball over a lot more.
That's been since the season started, man. That's been the biggest issue about this team.
Yeah. Well, I
It's
mean,
been the
every
biggest
time
thing.
every time we lose the turnover battle, we lose the game, and that's happened more often than not this year. So
That's been the single biggest issue about this team has been the turnover ratio.
mm-hmm.
That's why we're at where we're at, and I will die on that hill as far as my opinion goes.
Oh no, and it's a hill that most of us are going to die on because it's absolutely true. You can't win the game if you keep turning the freaking ball over.
And then people want to go, and it kind of blends in the cauldron the same way here. But then people want to go and call for Kevin O'Connell's head.
Yeah. I mean, yes, Kevin O'Connell's made some pretty stupid play calls. He's outsmarted himself a couple times. Like the tush push 2 plays in a row last week with the smallest guy on the freaking team as the pusher. I mean, that made no sense at all.
Yeah,
but
no, it didn't. It didn't. Why not have Oliver back there pushing?
Or Ham at least.
Or Ham. But,
Ty Chandler ran for 132 yards, and you couldn't hand it off to him to try to get a half yard.
Yep, exactly. But what is what's been done, and that's just that. But
we can't go back and change it.
Right, I'm not ready to hang O'Connell out to dry,
no.
But a lot of people are, and thank God that the Wilfs,
Pitchfork Nation is alive and well.
The Wilfs know better, though, I believe, and they gave Zimmer the long leash. Hopefully, now we have to see what is ahead, of course, but hopefully they give that same sort of satisfaction to O'Connell, depending on what we see in the future. Anyways,
he's in no way, shape, or form on the hot seat after this year. And those of you that are pushing for that, you can just drop it right now.
Yeah, you start next season 0-6, then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Start out slow next year, then we'll start talking. But as far as right now, his seat is not hot.
No. All right, moving on to the defensive tail of the tape.
It doesn't mean don't get complacent, but yes, continue.
No, of course not. Starting off with scoring defense, the Vikings are 7th in the league in scoring right now. We were 5th up until we gave up 27 points to the Bengals last week.
How about the complete game? It's like we can't just have a complete game.
No, because we had 3 great quarters, and then we gave up, 24 points or
3 fantastic quarters, and I felt comfortable.
Yeah, I thought we were.
As a Vikings fan, you should never feel comfortable ever.
No, this team has proven that way too many times.
And I made the mistake of going into that third quarter as a fan that knows better, feeling comfortable.
Sure I did too.
Vikings shit happened, and Vikings did like Vikings do.
Mm-hmm. Total yards, Vikings are currently 13th in the league. Oh, Detroit's 23rd in scoring defensive. I think I forgot to say that, but they give up a lot of points, which bodes well for us.
Yeah.
Total yards, Vikings are 13th. Detroit is 15th. So pretty close there. Again, another one against the pass. The Vikings are 17th and Detroit 18th.
You know what? Bottom line, this is where you either nut up or shut up in this game. This is where it counts the most. This is where your season begins and ends right now. So, and this is the best 2 teams in the NFC North. And the fact that it's waited till this long for us to come head to head, you either nut up or shut up this game.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, against the run, Vikings are 5th in the league against the run. So you have a very good run offense versus a very good run defense. Detroit's 8th though against the run. So might be a little tougher sledding this week. And we just talked about that a little bit ago. Detroit's strength on their defense is their front seven.
That's a good matchup to keep an eye on for everybody out there, is that Detroit run defense against Ty Chandler this weekend in the offensive line.
Mm-hmm. And
then that's when we'll really get a good idea of how far Chandler is along in this offense going forward. I think this is a good test.
Yep. And it's another good test for our defense too, with Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, because they're second ranked. Last time we had a top-ranked running back. Well, we took care of Christian McCaffrey against San Francisco.
I'll tell you what.
Held him in check, but
I'm sick of these corners giving up 50-50 balls. I'm sick of our corners giving up 50-50 balls. And the thing that pisses me off the most, and I'll give him one pass for this. And I think with me saying that, you know who I'm talking about. He's a rookie this year. He gets one little pass, and this is the worst. This is the one little get out of jail free card for me, and that's Mekhi Blackmon quitting on a play when he should have completed. He should have played through that play and not just rested on the fact that he thought something else was going to happen.
Yeah, and all the credit in the world to Higgins on that. I mean, he Randy Mossed that freaking ball.
That's why he's a wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah,
you know he that's what superstars do, and Higgins did it. And Blackmon, that was just a sour taste in my mouth when I seen that, and especially as a rookie. But you take that and you learn from it, and you never do it again.
Right. And I'm sure I'm sure there was a discussion had with him this week about doing that too. So.
Yeah, because I mean that was a gotta have it play, like Kevin O'Connell likes to say, and basically just sat there and watched.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
All right, moving on to the turnovers. Vikings defense 15th in the league in causing turnovers. Detroit's 25th. They don't cause a ton of turnovers, so that hopefully bodes well for us this week. Sacks. Vikings are 19th in the league in sacks, which is kind of surprising, being we have a guy that's a half a sack off the lead in the NFL.
And Wanham's quietly been having a good year too on the other end.
Yeah, well, Wanham has what, 7?
I think
something like that, 7 or 8, somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere between the 7 and 9 area.
Yeah, I mean, after that, everybody else is just onesie twosies. But Detroit, though, they're 25th in the league in sacks, which is kind of surprising with Aiden Hutchinson and company up there. But
well, that comes back to scheme. I mean,
yeah.
So
pressures, the Vikings are up to 10th in the league in pressures now, with 100. They've got 130 total on the season. But Detroit is 5th, so they're not getting home for the sacks, but they are causing pressures. So.
And we're not doing ourselves any favors this weekend with marching in there with the backup quarterback, but that's just what the cards was.
They don't have starting quarterbacks on the shelf down at Home Depot or nothing. But
right, I seen Darrisaw gave up that sack last weekend, and a lot of that was more Mullins almost making the sack happen than what it was Darrisaw giving it up.
Yeah,
Darrisaw did what he was supposed to do by going, making the arc around the quarterback and having the defender come. And then I hate that when the quarterback backs up right into the sack, and then
Yeah.
So I can't rest a lot of that on Darrisaw more so than not. It was just the pocket awareness of Nick Mullins there, I believe.
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
then
we're not doing a service to ourselves by sending in but it is what it is as far as backcourt quarterback goes into Detroit or at home. Excuse me.
Right. Then blitz blitz percentage. Vikings, of course, still first in the league. The blitz percentage actually ticked up a couple of percentage points this week. They went after Browning quite a bit up until the fourth quarter. But we are at 47.7% blitz percentage. Detroit, 15th in the league at 26.4%.
Did you talk about Browning's little outburst after the game on Rhino's Rants?
No, I did not, because I might have mentioned it in passing, but yeah, I never should have fucking cut me or whatever. Well, dude, you were here for 3 years. You didn't play well enough to make the roster.
Exactly. This is exactly what everybody else has been saying too. Yeah.
And if you want to be pissed at somebody, the guys that cut you aren't even here anymore. So
right, nobody's here that cut him. So whatever.
No. Yeah.
Hats off to Browning for doing what he did and proving me wrong, and most of everybody else wrong. But come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, if he wants to use it as a motivation and chip on his shoulder, be my guest. Whatever motivates you and gets you through the day, but
right.
And to Browning's credit, he's played well, but
he has
most of his throws are, over 50% of his completions are at or behind the line of scrimmage.
The fact of the matter is we beat him for 3 quarters, and we gave up that 4th quarter where we gave up 21 fucking points, man.
Yeah. But that's the thing. You can't just beat a team for 3 quarters. You got to beat them for 4.
That's what I'm saying. You got to have a complete game. We have a complete game there, and it's done and over with. We go home with the win.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to hit preview-wise before we move on?
No, we're good. Let's continue.
All right. So with that, we're going to roll into another one of our viral videos of the week. So grab yourself another glass of eggnog and hop back into your chair. Check this out. We'll be back in just a minute.
Okay. Careful when you go back and you hit your head. Oh my God! Oh! You okay?
All right, we are back, and we have reached, once again, the point in the show for the regionally semi-well-known, fairly famous, and
Semi-well-known.
occasionally requested NFC North prediction segment, where we not only look at, of course, the weekend's Vikings game, but what the rest of our rivals in the NFC North are doing as well. So, as always, we'll save the Vikings game for last, but we'll start off with the Green Bay Packers traveling to Charlotte to take on the Carolina Panthers. What do you think on this one, Lance?
Oh, man. I'm going to do the same thing I did last week, and go Pack, go, right? I mean, both weeks that we've done it, I almost wanted to puke when I said that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But both weeks we've done it, and they went on to shit the bed, so I'm going to have to pick the Packers here again. I don't know, to all you that watch Score North out there, there's a clip that they played this week of about a Packers fan that just went off the rails during the broadcast of the game. And if you haven't seen it, man, it was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, the Panthers just won last week, so who's to
against
say that
Atlanta? But
Atlanta's right there in the thick of things like we are. I mean, you would hope to think they were better than Atlanta, but right now, as far as records go, they're right there with us, man. So, yeah, I'm just gonna pick the Packers this week. Like I've stuck to the last few weeks, and they've ended up losing. So let's just go that route again.
yeah, I'm taking Green Bay here too. They if they lose to Carolina, they have absolutely no business being in the playoffs anyway. So
no,
it would be funny if they lost to Carolina, but I don't think
it
they're
would
going
be.
to. So
I would laugh. I would laugh very heartedly about it.
Yeah. I mean, we said the Giants had no chance to beat them too, and then they turned around and beat them on national TV.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, I'm taking Green Bay as well, and it probably won't be all that close. I mean, Carolina's got a good defense, so maybe they keep it closer than we think. But
at this point, right now, the one thing that Carolina has going for them is their defense. I mean, so we'll see.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next NFC North matchup. The Arizona Cardinals coming to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. What do you think?
I'm going to go with the Bears here. The Bears, like I said previously or earlier on in the episode, that I think the Bears are a much improved team as the season has gone along. I think they've gotten better. They beat us. They beat Detroit.
They should have beat Detroit twice.
Yeah. I'm not a Bears fan by any means, but they have gotten better, and I'm gonna have to go with the Bears here. The Cardinals are trash,
Yeah.
So
And as far as the Cardinals go, I don't think that the ownership group and probably the coaching staff of the Cardinals care all that much if they do lose.
right.
Honestly, I think I wouldn't surprise me one bit if they're trying to position themselves a little bit better to try to get one Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right.
But
Yep.
they did put up 27 points against San Francisco last week. But there again, that's a rivalry game, so there's a little bit of more incentive in that one, I guess. But I think Chicago probably pulls this one off. They really should have beat Cleveland last week too.
Yeah, they should have beat Cleveland last week.
Yeah, except Darnell Mooney had that Hail Mary in his lap in the end zone, and he just threw it back up in the air again, and Cleveland ended up picking it off. So,
Yep. Yeah, like I said, the Bears have gotten better. Earlier in the year, they were looking pretty hopeless, but they're a tough outing. I'll give them that.
And the better the Bears look at this point in time, hopefully mean a little less chance that they're going to take somebody like Drake May or Caleb Williams or somebody like that in the draft here. So
I agree. You know what though? I'm about, like I said with Naylor, and this is completely irrelevant in the nature somewhat, but I'm kind of off the Caleb Williams train. I don't know if
I am too. I've been off of the Williams train for about half the season. I really
don't know if I want anything to do with the guy.
No, I didn't like the way he handled a lot of stuff this year.
Yeah, a lot of things. I mean, his head's about as big as this room.
Yeah, I believe Drake May is going to be the number one quarterback out there. And there's even talk that Jaden Daniels might go ahead of Caleb Williams.
That's the guy.
That's the guy I want. I mean, I'm
the guy I'm on the table for, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love me some Drake May too. I think he's going to be a very good quarterback in this league.
Too.
So, but I would take either one of those two in a heartbeat.
Yes, yes. I'm almost higher on Daniels, honestly. I like the leadership he brings to the team and the confidence that he has in himself. Not that May doesn't have those, same characteristics or attributes, but I look for May to be, like you said, probably the first guy off the board.
He's going to be the first quarterback off the board, I think, unless Kate May and maybe Caleb Williams goes on and wows him in his pro days, and
I think Williams might be that guy again, like Levis last year, and like other quarterbacks in the past that end up dropping out of the first round potentially.
I don't think he's going to do that. Someone's going to take.
You're right. There's going to be a team that's going to take that chance. Like
there's so many teams that need quarterbacks. The Giants probably need a quarterback unless they think Danny DeVito can be their guy. That the Saints probably need a quarterback. Cardinals not the Cardinals, but the Falcons need a quarterback. The Raiders need a quarterback. There's so many guys. He's not. Yeah, I still think he probably goes in the top 5 because if he falls at all, somebody's going to trade up and get him. I think, but
that's possible. But he's not helping himself anyway with this.
He's not.
But anyway, season, attitude and shit goes. But yeah, anyways,
we'll save the draft talk for after our season the season's over. But I think Arizona coming and playing in Chicago at this time of year. I mean, granted, it's supposed to be nice this weekend, so I don't think the weather's going to be too much of a determining factor, but Arizona just doesn't have a lot weapons-wise or anything else to go in for them.
Right, and they're not all but eliminated, I think, if they aren't already.
They are eliminated. They're one of the 8 teams, I think, or 6 teams that aren't still alive.
That's telling enough then right there. I fully expect the Bears to come out and take care of business this weekend against the Cardinals.
Yep. All right, then the final game of the NFC North for the weekend is, of course, Sunday, U.S. Bank Stadium, where the Detroit Lions come in to face our Minnesota Vikings. It is an absolute must-win game.
This is
for the
it.
Vikings.
This is it. Right here.
Yeah, we have to have 2 out of the last 3, which means we have to beat Detroit at least once. So why not do it at home?
This is the bread and butter meat steak portion of our schedule, and we need it more than ever right now.
Yep.
And it starts on Sunday, and I mean, the big dogs are facing off in our division this weekend, being us and Detroit, and it's time to show the rest of the NFL whose division this belongs to and why. And if it's going to happen for us, let's make it fucking happen. Let's do what we need to do to get it done. This is where it becomes important. I mean, not that the other games are important, but with the way things are playing out, get it done.
Yeah,
get it done.
I think regardless, it's going to be a 1-score game because it seems like that's all we know how to play.
Yeah, so it's how it's been for the last 2 fucking seasons.
Right. But I mean, I agree. The Vikings need to put their big boy pants on this weekend and go take care of business and get a victory here and keep the playoff hopes. You control your own destiny. I mean, the Vikings have controlled their own destiny many times over the years, and we usually seem to somehow or another piss it down our leg and then have to sit there and hope that somebody else helps us out to get in. But let's not have to sit there and be gnashing our teeth together that final Sunday, and let's just go out there, let's take care of business. We get this win today, we're back up to a 60-some% chance of making the playoffs.
We get this win today, and we win that. I know, not looking forward to next week, but we might be able to stamp our way into the playoffs and already have clinched a spot by the end of next weekend if we can just take care of business against Green Bay then next weekend as well. Mm-hmm. Let's just do what we need to do to get to where we need to be.
Yep. But right now, like I said, it basically is. We're basically in the playoffs right now because if we don't take care of business, we're going to be sitting home in mid-January.
Yeah. And there's like what was it? There is the coach that said there's a reason why you play the games, and that's exactly right.
Right.
So. I mean, we need to get it figured out before. I want to see this defense in the playoffs, and I want to see competence on the offense. And we just complete games, man. We need to fucking start having complete games. 4 quarters, man. Play for 4 quarters.
Yeah, I mean, that's all we can do at this point. But anyway, with that,
this is the gotta have it game if there ever has been one. Gotta have moment. As Kevin Oaks kind of likes to say, you need to win. You need to go and win this game this weekend. Throw the first stone.
And when we're talking complete game, it's offense, defense, special teams, and coaching.
Yeah. And make sure that Detroit knows they fucking played the Vikings this Sunday. Mm-hmm. Because turn around and we play them 2 weeks from now.
Yep. So all right. But with that, that's really all we've got for this week. Want to again thank you, everybody, for watching, for tuning in. If you're not done so, hit that like button on your way out. It helps us out a ton. Hit the subscribe on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter /The X-Files. And with that, just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas. Let's hope that Santa Claus delivers us a Vikings victory on Christmas Eve. And we have something good to talk about next week. Again, programming note, Rhino's Rants will be on Tuesday. This coming week being Monday is Christmas Day. We'll be spending time with the family, and everybody else will be as well. So we will hold off and do the show on Tuesday. But other than that, we'll have the regular scheduled programming next week. So look forward to that. And with that, why don't you take us home, Lance?
Does it really feel like Christmas without snow here? Is there snow up there in Fargo right now?
And there's some on the ground.
And yeah, no snow.
But it's going to be 46. Going to be 46 degrees next Friday and Saturday, so a lot of what's here is going to melt. So, which I'm fine.
I mean, we were due for some El Nino. We were due for it. I mean, the last few have been pretty harsh. The last few weeks. So I mean, I'm more than happy. But it'd be nice to see a few snowflakes on Christmas at least. So, with that being said, I wish you all, you and everybody watching out there, a very Merry Christmas to all the families and the kids and the children. With that being said, Aubrey and Millie, if you're out there watching, God loves and misses you. We'll see you all next Friday. SKOL.
Merry Christmas, everybody.